is unfortunately, due to the paucity of time, the assent of Mr. President could not be gotten before the expiration of the 9th Assembly. And because of the genuineness and then the very importance of this bill, we have to recommit it. And before I go further, we have been talking about kinetic situation of our Nigerian security. And for that kinetic not to reactivate or to activate the inertial situation, then definitely this bill is pertinently to be considered by distinguished senators and then let it pass. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, and once again, for the avoidance of identity piracy, I am Senator Yemi Adaramodu. I represent Ekiti South Central District, and I'm from Ekiti State. Once again, since the early years, let me deal with the principles first, by minority leader. Since the early years of the establishment of the National Youth Service Corps, which was established May 1973, that's 51 years ago. This is going to be the first attempt at making sure that the act that established the National Youth Service Corps is dealt with to ensure and afford Nigerians the benefit of why the NYSC was established. The management of the scheme has not only trained and equipped and empowered corps members enrolled under the scheme, but have instilled patriotism and the spirit of nationalism in corps members since then. The decision to establish the National Youth Service Corps Trust Fund was conceived by some of the scheme's stakeholders, which include the 36 state governments and FCT administration. The idea to establish the trust fund was also strongly supported by civil society organizations, National Association of Nigerian Students, and the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, the ALGON. The objectives, therefore, are to establish a National Youth Service Corps Trust Fund, to control a special fund established under this section, which is Section 3 of this bill, provides sustainable sources of funds for the National Youth Service Corps funds, to train and retrain of corps members under the NYSC, to provide skill acquisition and provide start-up capital for corps members, to develop camps and NYSC formations and all other facilities, and to improve the general welfare of corps members and personnel of NYSC. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the establishment of NYSC Trust Fund, we have a direct answer to the asked rhetorical question, after NYSC, what next? This is because in 2012, NYSC established the Skills Acquisition and Entrepreneurship Development, which we call the SAID, to close the gap in unemployment among Nigerian graduates by building the capacity of corps members to gain the acquired skills that beat the challenges of unemployment. Mr. President, colleagues, if and when this bill is signed into law, these young graduates, having acquired skills and entrepreneurial development skill under SAID, would have the resources to start up their own businesses and become business owners. In this way, we will be achieving greater feats in empowering our young graduates for self-employment and wealth creation. The bill consists of 26 clauses, schedule, committees, and miscellaneous of the trust fund. Mr. President, my very esteemed colleagues, we all know that the osmotic causative of unemployment in Nigeria among youth, has increased the wave of armed robbery, prostitution, drug trafficking, kidnapping, terror threats, and ongoing abductions of Nigerians with reckless abandon. I therefore urge all my colleagues to give this bill an accelerated hearing and passage, as it would make a significant impact in reducing unemployment among Nigerian youth. And pertinently to note that this bill is going to be a Happy New Year bill to Nigerian youth. And the NYSC that had been on the Committee of Youth Development visit to some of these camps will reveal a very parallel situation of the camps. Today, the camps are being managed by the state government, but hardly will we find about 3 or 4, 5 camps that we can call serious camps that Nigerian youth, young adults, can dwell in and do something very meaningful. So with the passage of this bill, we will ensure that our young adults that we are churning out every year, almost every month, because we have several thousands. This year, not less than 400,000 young graduates of Nigerian descent will be passing out to go into the NYSC. So when we visit these camps, the situation is very parlous, very, very indecent. And then with this bill, it's going to cure this kind of anomaly. And without regressing into unnecessary verbosity, I here want to submit and then move. Thank you, Mr. President and dear colleagues.
Dismissed Senator Nengi.
Understanding to speak from the seat of Mr. Mpigi. My phone is bad. Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Abdul Ningi, and I represent Bauchi Central. First and foremost, let me commend the sponsor of this bill, our own Senator Yemi, for thinking out of the box. It is so important that in the last 3 decades, we have been hobnobbing about the exit of the NYSC scheme. After NYSC, what next? I believe the idea of a trust fund is an idea that its time has come. It is an idea that brightens the future of our young men and girls. It is a vision that this country cares about the younger people. And it is a mandate to all young men across the country that this National Assembly, this Senate in particular, cares about their welfare, about their well-being, and about their tomorrow. For some of us, time has come to always remind ourselves that no position, no condition is permanent. We are senators today, we won't be senators all our lives. And therefore, as you are building your own household, as you are thinking about your own kids, you must also think about the totality of the kids in this country. I think this trust fund, if actually managed with a very good strategy, is a way of plugging the gaps in the areas of employment and creating hope to the hopelessness that is embedded in this country today. And I'm sure if you go through the bills, especially the summary of the bill, you understand that the sponsor of the bill intention is to make sure that we have created a future of which Nigerian youth will be rest assured that their tomorrow is guaranteed. And I believe this is some of the legislation that is required out of the Senate. These bills brightens my day, And it gives me a very rare hope that the Senate has come to making sure that every Nigerian, old and young, is in the heart of senators, is in the heart of this institution. And you look at some of the major vision of this bill, that it will bring about interaction with the youth, in creating opportunities for them in terms of businesses, in terms of opportunities to do other things apart from what they have been able to read in the university. So quite a number of people are existing and surviving out of the box. It is not what you read in the university that is fundamental and cardinal. It's what you use your brain for after the passage of the university university community. So I believe this is a very good bill. I believe the sponsor should be commended, and I'm sure as we go further, the bill in the second reading is only important as to the principle of it. When a bill is read the second time, the most important thing is, does this bill ring a bell? Does it make any sense? And then the bill during the second reading, because once you take this bill and pass it to second reading, then it goes into committees. Then the committees will have a public hearing, and from there, you see the bill is penetrated in a manner that will actually comprehend what is actually needed. Even what is missing in the prior thinking of the bill that is not encapsulated here. But as the bill transits to the third reading, the bill becomes a very, very important tool for national development. And I'm sure this bill has passed that standard. And I encourage my dear colleagues to look at this bill with an open mind. It may not be perfect, but it's something that we must fund and something that we must support. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Is there anybody that is opposed to it?
No.
So in that case,
You can bring it up.
yeah, go on.
I have the floor. This is a very good bill, no doubt about it.
The observation.
That is, the sources of the fund should right away be indicated, because you don't establish a fund and you don't know where to source the fund. And it's a rule.
Read is something.
And let's even put the question first.
Put the question.
Yes, it's there.
You read for the second time.
So I want to contribute. I want to thank distinguished colleagues. For your contributions, and then of course thank the sponsor of the bill, distinguished Senator Adaramodu. And now I want to put the question. Those in favor that this bill be now read the second time, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the National Youth Service Corps Trust Fund for the purpose of providing a sustainable source of funds for the National Youth Service Corps, scale acquisition, training and empowerment of corps members, training and retraining of the personnel of the National Youth Service Corps, development of camps and NYSC formations and facilities therein, and for related matters 2022. 2024, second reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the National Youth Service Corps Trust Fund for the purpose of providing a sustainable source of funds for the National Youth Service Corps, skill acquisition, training and empowerment of corps members, training and retaining of the personnel of the National Youth Service Corps, development of camps, and NYSC formations and facilities therein and for related matters 2024. Second reading taken. And the bill is now referred to the Committee on Youth and Community Engagement for further legislative action. Leader of the Senate.